Story Time with Emma. Today, I'm going to share with you a story called Horton Hears by Dr. Seuss. 今天呢，要跟你们分享的是 Dr. Seuss 很有名的作品 Horton Hears Horton is this cute elephant. 那有一天呢 Horton 在水池玩水的时候，你刚刚有听见吗？他听到有人在求救，但这声音我都听不到，没有任何其他人听到，只有 Horton 听到。于是他就东找西找，到底声音来自于哪里？最后被他找到，这声音竟然是来自于 a small speck of dust. A small speck of dust that is able to yell. 这声音竟然是来自于一颗微小的灰尘，但 Horton 听到了，他就决定要救他。于是呢 Horton 他就用他的象鼻把这个 dust 放到一朵 clover 一朵苜蓿花上，然后呢他要把这个 clover 放到一个安全的地方。那其他的动物就看到 clover 跟这个 Horton 在讲话，就觉得Horton 有点不正常。就算 Horton 告诉他们 There is a tiny person on the speck of dust that need help， 其他的人还是觉得 Hello， 需要帮助的是你吧？怎么可能有人会住在那个比针头还要小的 dust 上面呢？大家都说 Horton You are out of your head, You are crazy。那大家都认为 Horton is a fool， 那他们就处心积虑想尽办法想要把那朵 clover 抢走，那希望 Horton 可以恢复正常。但是如果 Horton 放弃了，那个求救的人就没有人帮助了。但是这时候森林又派出了好多要镇压 Crazy Horton 的镇压大队，像是 The Wickersham Brothers 泼猴大队，他们呢把这个他小心呵护的 Clover 抢走，然后再交给 Black-bottomed Eagle， 交给黑腹秃鹰，叫他说你飞得越远越好，让 Horton 找不到那朵 Clover。那 Horton 呢，他就拼命的在后面追追，爬过这个高山，涉过水，然后求他们说不要伤害那个灰尘上面的生命，因为 Horton 认为 A person is a person, no matter how small。 在渺小的生命都有它生存的权利，也都应该被尊重。所以这小小世界中的人最后能获救吗？ Well, let's follow Horton and find out.
Horton Hears by Dr. Seuss. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. Help! So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound.
That's funny,
thought Horton.
There's no one around.
Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help.
I'll help you,
said Horton.
But who are you? Where?
He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air.
I say,
murmured Horton.
I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on top of that very small speck of dust. Some sort of a creature of very small size. Too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who is shaking with fear that he'll blow in the pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him. Because, after all, a person is a person, no matter how small.
So gently, and using the greatest of care, The elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over, and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Humph! Humphed a voice. It was a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Humph!" too. Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin.
A person on that? Why, there never has been. Believe me,
said Horton.
I tell you sincerely, my ears are quite keen, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there is a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4. Quite likely, a family for all that we know. A family with children just starting to grow. So please,
Horton said,
as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just let them be.
I think you are a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, Me too. You are the biggest blind fool in the jungle of Newell. And the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool.
What terrible splashing!
The elephant frowned.
I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they.
So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. Through the high jungle treetops, the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on the flower. And Horton walked, worrying, almost an hour.
Should I put this speck down?
Horton thought with alarm.
If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't. After all, a person is a person, no matter how small.
Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it.
Speak up, please,
said Horton. He put his ear near it.
My friend,
came the voice.
You are a very fine friend. You have helped all us folks on this dust speck no end. You have saved all our houses, our ceilings and floors. You have saved all our churches and grocery stores. You mean,
Horton gasped.
You have buildings there too?
Oh yes, piped the voice.
We most certainly do. I know, called the voice, I'm too small to be seen, but I'm mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you may seem terribly small, but to us who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a Who, and we Whos are all thankful and grateful to you.
And Horton called back to the mayor of the town.
You are safe now. Don't worry, I won't let you down.
But just as he spoke to the mayor of the speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting,
What rot! These elephants talking to whos who are not. They aren't any whos, and they don't have a mayor. And we are going to stop all this nonsense. So there!
They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Bloody Cough, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing. And they say,
Will you kindly get rid of this thing?
And before the poor elephant even could speak, that eagle flew off with the flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, the black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after, with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged,
Please, don't harm all my little folks, who have as much right to live as us bigger folks do.
But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back,
Quit your yapping. I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird. I don't mind it. And I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it.
And at 6:56 the next morning, he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide.
Find that!
Sneered the bird,
But I think you will fail.
and he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail.
I'll find it,
Cried Horton.
I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust.
And clover by clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called,
Are you there?
But clover by clover by clover he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last on the 3 million flower.
My friends,
Called the elephant.
tell me, do tell. Are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?
From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor.
Oh, we have really had trouble, much more than our share. When that black-bottom birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please,
Pleaded that voice of the mayor's.
will you stick by us who's while we are making repairs? Of course,
Horton answered.
of course I will stick. I'll stick by you, small folks, through thin and through thick.
Huffed a voice.
For almost 2 days, you have run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who have never existed. Such carries on in our peaceable jungle. We have had quite enough of your bellowing bungle, and I'm here to state
Snapped the big kangaroo.
that your silly, nonsensical game is all through.
And the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me too! With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws, whose help I have engaged, you are going to be roped and you are going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezel nut oil.
Boil it?
gasped Horton.
Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Horton called.
Mr. Mayor, you have got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in bezel nut stew.
And down on the dust speck, the scared little mayor quick called a big meeting in Whoville Town Square, and his people cried loudly. They cried out in fear.
We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here.
The elephant smiled.
That was clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well.
Oh, I heard, snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze, and that faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either.
And the young kangaroo in her pouch said,
Me neither! Grab him,
they shouted.
and cage the big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the nuts tight so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in the bezel nut juice.
Horton fought back with great vigor in them, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage. But he managed to call to the mayor.
Don't give up! I believe in you all! A person is a person, no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourself heard. So come on now and try.
The mayor grabbed a tom-tom. He started to smack it. And all over Whoville, they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles, they beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots, on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket ran high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the howling hullabaloo.
Hey, Horton, how is this? Is our sound coming through?
And Horton called back,
I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anyone sharking?
Through the town rushed the mayor, from the east to the west. But everyone seems to be doing his best. Everyone seems to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seems to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough. All this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker quite hidden away in the Fairfax apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was just standing and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound. Not a yip, not a chirp, and the mayor rushed inside, and he grabbed the young twerp. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower.
This,
cried the mayor,
is your town's darkest hour. The time for all who's who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country, he said. We have got to make noises in greater amounts. So, open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts.
Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat and he shouted out, "Yap!" And that yap, that one small extra yap, put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck on the clover, their voices were heard. They ran out clear and clean, and the elephant smiled.
Do you see what I mean? They have proved they are persons, no matter how small, and their whole world was saved by the smallest of all.
Oh, how true, yes, how true, said the big kangaroo. And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them with you. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too. From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them no matter how smallish."
Well, 在听故事的时候，你有没有一直很想要 root for Horton， 想要帮 Horton 加油呢？即使他遇到了重重的阻碍，他还是一直跟这个灰尘上面的人说 ：“I promise you a future that is safe, sound, and stable。”即使过程是这么的艰难，那小朋友，你有没有想过，为什么森林里的动物它要这样一直刁难 Horton， 然后甚至要把它rope him, cage him， 把它五花大绑关进笼子里呢？其他的动物都和 Horton 唱反调，是因为他们都不认同 Horton 说的 "They are persons on the speck of dust"。那有可能是因为他们感官接受的讯息 跟 Horton 不一样，所以认知不一样，所以意见想法也就不一样。那小朋友，如果你是 Horton 的话 ，How would you convince them? And if they didn't believe you, what would you do? 所以有没有发现，其实意见不同是很正常的。It's important to note that differences in opinions are natural, and you don't start a war because of disagreements, right? 更重要的是，我们也要跟 Horton 学习，记得他说的 ，A person is a person, no matter how small. 而且有没有可能，这个地球在这浩瀚的宇宙中，也像是一颗微尘，而我们就像是微尘中那个渺小的人呢？ Well, I hope you enjoyed today's story. 那如果你喜欢类似的故事，我们就期待下次见喽。